Alright, so I think we're live and all set to go. Yeah, I had a slight issue. I run stuff through OBS, so sometimes things
You
don't
lie
work
as
the
a
way that
breath,
you
you
want them
can
to.
feel the heartbeat of the world.
So right now I'm just kind of loading up some stuff to see. Got to, wow, I freaking hate. Okay, there it is. It's hard to
Should we
see.
really be off
All right.
Livestream? There's
So
still a
as
lot
you're
left
well
to do.
aware, I'm just gonna go ahead and collect my mail. So I have a code redeemed, code redeemed, code redeemed, and checking. So it's 300 primo gems, which is equal to 2 full wishes. Yay! And then obviously the extra stuff. So next up, still using the crazy team here, and yeah, still using Ganyu. I was just making sure. Okay. Looking to see where they all are. So I got one up here. This must be this novel's amazing or something. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So we'll just go in that order. Safe conduct. Why? Why a frickin' balloon thing? I really wish that there was a way to turn off certain commissions so that you didn't have to worry about them ever popping up. Come on, start.
Next on the agenda.
Don't care. Shoot right through there. Around the corner. And I
You're way
just
behind
wait here
schedule.
at the end. Not like anything's gonna bother me. Alright, and done. Just kind of playing around with the bow. I mean, technically, yes, it is worthwhile playing as a new player. Um, because there's so much content out there for you. The only bad side of playing as a new player is if you try to go to like do any of the wish banners. So I'll use an example. You start out here in Mondstadt, and it's going to take you a while before you can actually access upgrade materials for a character later on. So we got an announcement for Ayaka and an Ayaka rerun and Ayato, uh, which are actually 5-star units that can only be upgraded from Inazuma, which is, if I zoom out here, give me a sec, uh, pretty far away, which means I'm going to guess that it's going to take you at least a week of really active playing to make it all the way there. Um, it's and you'll have to make it all the way to Watatsume Island to actually access the Hydro Cube to upgrade Ayato, and you'll have to have access to I believe it's the yeah I believe you have to have access to uh, Dragon's Spine, I believe it is, for Ayaka for the Cryo Cube, which you can gain access kind of early, but to upgrade their talents, which is like their skills, you have to be able to access this domain, which is called Violet Court, and it's in Inazuma, unfortunately. And same goes for any weapons that you get for them, which is the Court of Flowing Sand. You'll have to go here to upgrade their weapons. So it's a big yeah, the map is pretty big. Originally the game was limited to just the uh, Mondstadt, I cannot talk, and the Liyue region. So this section here, like when you first start out, you start out like way over here on this beach, and then you make your way basically all the way to Mondstadt. And in the process, you are cut off from, I think it's uh, Western Mondstadt. So you have access to like around Cider Lake, which there's Cider Lake, uh, and down this way. So this is the area that you can cover. And then once you do a particular set of quests, you'll be able to go further west. Um, and eventually you'll get a quest to go to Dragon Spine, which is really rough, but it's not terrible. Um, and it might take a while, but eventually you'll get to jump on a boat and you'll be able to sail all the way to Inazuma, and you'll have to explore gradually to the point where you have to go through some very dangerous terrain here on this island. I always forget what the name of this island is. Yashiori Island. Uh, but yeah, the map is kind of big and it's still growing. In the next update, we are getting an area to the west, which is known as the chasm. As you can kind of see, there is a road that kind of goes that way. So I'm assuming that's our entryway to that place. This word, the chasm, has been on the map for months, if not like a year. So we've been kind of waiting for it. But if you're not in any rush, you don't have to do wishes. And I always recommend that if you are going to do wishes, always do them on the character banner whenever possible. Uh, do not go for like the starter banner unless you absolutely want Noel. Uh, so use your Primo Gems for buying fates for the character banner. So otherwise, yeah, it's pretty good. I know people who started like 6 months ago, and they are pretty much caught up to where I am. So it is possible to catch up. I am a day two player, so I know kind of how the game kind of progresses and how it can be friendly and also not friendly. So I would say its biggest shortfall and shortcoming is that you can't necessarily upgrade the characters that are brand new. However, if you're gonna wish for like Venti, who is a rerun banner, his stuff comes from like this cube, which is automatically like available right when you start. His talent upgrade materials come from this domain, which is in Mondstadt, so you should have access to that fairly quickly. His weapon upgrades are generally probably going to be from this domain, Cecilia Garden, but not necessarily. And to upgrade his talents to its maximum, you will obviously have to go to Storm Terror's lair. Um, Whereas like the other characters, Ayato and Ayaka, uh, especially for their upgrade materials uh, to their talents to fully upgrade them, you will have to go through this event, which is the Tenshu Kaku, and possibly the end of Oria. I cannot. Sorry, Ephemia, whatever. So you'll have to go through those. I believe, unless they have some other weekly boss that they add in, which there are weekly bosses. There's dailies. Um, if you're willing to put in the effort, you can definitely make it work. So great game. Otherwise, I mean, yes, the gems are easy enough to get. Okay, so by watching live streams, like what I streamed a little bit earlier, we got 300. Okay, it's 160 per wish. Every time you open up a treasure chest, you are guaranteed at least one, if not more. There are some that contain, I believe it's like 10, and there are over 800 chests just in Mondstadt, if I remember correctly. Let me double check. There's an achievement system which you can also get stuff from this. Uh, so that you see how there's so many things that you can do to like get primo gems just off of this. Like cook 10 suspicious looking dishes, which means you failed at cooking 10 times. Um, Glide a really long way. Get killed by a boar. You know. Uh, so these are little challenges that they add in for you to do, where you can just kind of mess around with it and earn rewards as you go. And there's a lot of them. Uh, and not all of them are worth only 5. Some are worth more. But I'm just looking through this list. So, Memories of the Heart. Basically, these are like commissions usually, or uh, something based off of a story quest. So, there's, you know, all sorts of stuff like these are story related. All the mortal trivials are. The Art of Adventure, for a 4-star weapon. You see how it's worth 10, 20. It gets pretty, easy to get all of the gems. You can see how this could happen. Like, here's this one. Open 400 chests in Mondstadt, excluding Dragonspine area. Okay, so there's 400 chests. Sorry, I think there's like 800 in Leeway. Yeah, I think there's like 800 chests in Leeway. Yep. So that's pretty crazy. They test your skills. These are all worth 20, so forth. And you can see how this adds up really quickly. You open treasure chest, you do this stuff. There's ones that are like, oh yeah, you've done opened up so many chests so often. There's rewards for doing the Spiral Abyss, you know, which it tells you how many times you've done it. I've cleared floor 12 of the Spiral Abyss 4 times, uh, which is funny because sometimes they tell you how many times you've done it, other times not so much. And there's some stuff that I obviously still have never done. I'm not perfect by any means. I mean, And the best part about it is you could start as a free to play and decide that you want to invest money into it. I will point out that I am a free to play player, so I have never actually put any money into it because of some complications with their payment system. So I just didn't bother. Um, so the achievement system plus all the treasure chests definitely make it worth it. Uh, and it's not
You can
it's
feel
not like I have
the
a
heartbeat
bad
of the
amount of characters. Like everything that's grayed out like these are characters I don't have, but I definitely have characters, like 5-star characters, ones that are like on the current banner, um, and some good units from prior banners. So 5 stars, 4 stars, but I'm also missing some 4 stars. Like I've never pulled a Razor or Chung Yun. It just happens. But I also have like a C6 Noel and Official and Shingling, which all that means is I pulled them multiple times. So, and they do get better each time you pull them. So, it really depends on your play style too. It is a great action game. Um, Constellation wise, I'm just not that great with constellations. Uh, they're a given. They're story related. But yeah, you get the idea really quickly, like what you can and cannot get with ease. So, yeah, I definitely recommend it. At least try it out. And if it doesn't suit your play style, don't continue. You know, as simple as that. There's nothing wrong with trying games and then deciding that it's not right for you. I've done it many a times. I've played tons of games and have decided that I don't like it, especially even after a long period of time. Hey, look, a boar. Aw, crap, I'm a bad shot. Okay, got it. Which, and it froze the water. Okay.
This is long overdue. No touching.
Oh, that was fun. Alright, all finished. So, that was a cool elemental burst. I'm gonna go over here and take care of the next one. Ah, constantly trying to keep an eye on the stream, but also concentrate on what I'm doing. Ah! And anybody who's been watching me on a regular basis will know that this game is notorious for giving me the same stuff over and over. I'm gonna fly a little bit around the corner because there's like one enemy left.
Healthy.
Time for retribution!
Okay, shoot.
And away I go.
That was fun.
Next on the agenda.
Okay, all finished. Yeah, having a hell of a time with freaking loading the page here. Wow, that's super annoying. Okay, pick up some loose items real quick. And yeah, moving on to the next commission. And again, I'm really excited about some of these events. I'm really happy that Theater Mechanicus is coming back. I do like that they're putting a spin on it, but at the same time, I don't really care that much that they're putting a spin on it because I'll play it regardless. And the game's fun as long as they don't require anything to like initiate play. So like the first time they introduced Theater Mechanicus, you had to pay via Zhao Lantern, uh, which is an item that you can craft, but it was like an event exclusive item you can craft. But then when like they took it away and they brought it back, you didn't need anything to like do it. Let's go with epic battles. I don't know. Aw, find him? What do you mean find him? Where the hell did he go? Oh, it's like really where? Where'd this guy go? Jeez. Yeah, I'm not used to doing some of these commissions. Like Change the Night, where like this story is amazing, that's fine. But when
Next
he's
on the
like
agenda?
trying to get me to do something else, it just throws me off. Okay, so he's right in front of me somewhere. Probably wants me to fight someone. Oh shit. Hey guys. Bye
Blaze
guys.
over! Born of ice and frost. Shadows of fate, written in the stars.
And voila. Wow, that's interesting. That's very interesting. The way he's just like, yeah, kind of just throw a stone at them to get their attention, and, and try to get people to like help me. And I'm like, dude. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, don't try to get monsters' attention if you don't have any way to defend yourself. Come on. Reminds me of everybody who gets attacked in this game. It needs to be saved. Talking about you, Pallid.
Ad Astra Ab. Thank you for completing.
You also get Primo Gems for doing daily commissions, so
Ad Astra Ab.
which is definitely worth it. Real time uh, send off so that they can collect materials, including in-game currency like Mora, which is the equivalent to like monetary currency. Let's see. I'm trying to think of everything that they brought up in the live stream. I think one of the big ones that caught my eye was that there was discussion on uh, a few minute things. Let me double check see how much condensed resin I have real quick. 3. Those minute things were uh, good old other events. So, and the new area. The area did look really nice. I did recall that area where it looked like the end of a domain, but it looked like it might not be a domain. So it makes me wonder if the domain was destroyed partially or if it was just an inactive domain. So that's going to be a big factor. Let's see, where do I want to go for today's stuff? I worked on some artifacts for Fischl yesterday and the day before. I think I'm good with her. Don't need any of those. Think I'm fine there. Honestly, it's a hard decision on what to do. There's so many good choices, but then I don't really need anything in terms of using for condensed resin. And I think that's the biggest problem that I have in this game is not needing anything at the moment. You play so much. Yeah, yeah. It's a big download. If you're trying to play it on mobile devices, it is huge. But if you're playing like on console or PC, it's probably a bit more worth it. If you want the best loading times, I would suggest either a very high-end PC or a PS5. It is playable on the PS4 as well as a lower-end PC. Uh, and I wouldn't say necessarily lower, but maybe mid-range. I'm using like a I'm using like some stuff that came out like a few years ago that it was mediocre at the time. So you should be fine. Like I've had my PC uh, since I think what 2019? No, 2018. Yeah, thanks for the follow there. Yeah, I ended up installing it onto a secondary hard drive, so it runs slower than the PS5. I know that because I have friends who have PS5s and they load a lot faster. So yeah, this is a tricky situation. It's always hard to figure out what I want to run on the days because there's a lot of choices. So okay, so any day you will see the number up in the top right corner where it will say it says floor 8. That's your Spiral Abyss progression. But then next to that, to the left, is your resin, which is 160 total, and the number is how many you have left over. They accumulate roughly one every 7.5 minutes, and it is one of the driving forces for your adventure rank. And I'm adventure rank 58, but it takes a lot of adventure rank experience to level up from 55 to 56. And I think the full culmination is ridiculous. I don't know anybody who's adventure rank 59. So that being said, though, um, it's a good idea to keep an eye on that. You use the resin on domains. So domains are the ones that look like this, that have the larger circle. The ones that are smaller, these are domains, but they do not take resin. But these ones do. You can also use your resin on uh, the ley lines. They'll look like kind of like a cloud. There's two versions. There's the blue one, which is for experience books, and then there is the gold version, which like up here, which gives Mora, which is the currency. And then you can also use your Mora, or not your Mora, your resin on world bosses, which you can kind of see how they cost 40. I have a method of making condensed resin, which you have to go through a process of doing some weeklies over and over in Leeway, um, which allows you to basically take 40 of your resin, create this condensed resin. You can carry up to 5. And when you go to use them on one of these, instead of it costing you 20 resin, you use one of these condensed resins and you get double the rewards. So it's not terrible, but it just saves you a little bit more time doing it that way. So you, instead of you having to go through this 8 times a day, you can run through it 4 times a day and get the same amount of rewards. Um, but otherwise, yeah, pretty simple. I'm trying to think what I want to do. Always a tough choice. I'm not going to do any world bosses because I don't have enough regular resin. I only have condensed resin. What do we got over here? Taisho Mansion. Ugh, gross. I would love to use it there, but it's not what I need. So I'm just gonna go through a ley line. Go for experience books. Why not? I don't really need experience books. I need a lot of other things, but I'm not too worried about it. Hey, look, a random event. And I'm just gonna ignore it because... Oops, I got stuck on a rock. Also, this character is a cheater when it comes to uh, aiming because you can not hit the target and still hit the target, if that makes sense. So anyway, use a shielder. And this. Oh crap, I'm frozen! I'm frozen! Ah! Oh, I ran right over it. What the hell?
Rise.
I will have order.
Burst. Okay, so pretty simple. Yeah, or stamina or whatever. Yeah, it's real time restored. Um, so and whenever you do something like expeditions, which you talk to the Adventurers Guild for, that's also real time. But those are easier to deal with. Another key point that I did not mention is if you're bored, just hit a tree. There's a lot to this game, including the Serenity Pod and stuff like that, which is the Serenity Pod is an area where you can like create your own like little base and put characters in it and so forth, and you can get some additional rewards from it. And so, but you need wood for those.
Stabilize.
All hail. No touching.
Okay, they're all dead. Cool. So I just keep on using condensed resin, getting the experience books. Like I said, I don't really need experience books. And if I were you, I don't know if you should even wish on the current banners if you're starting out. But my biggest concern with that is always banners are weird, and sometimes wishing on the most like recent banner right when you first start can be a little bit overwhelming because you feel like you don't have enough time to wish on it. But I think there's enough time on this banner that it should not be much of a problem.
Go.
Okay, one dead. Go. always do it this way because it's a little bit easier. Where's the last enemy? Oh, they're just out of range. That's ah. That's why I use shields. That's why I use shields. Enemies drop items. You just kind of hit the button. I wish there was a more like collect everything around me kind of button, but I understand why there's not. And then the last one, I think, is off this way. Yeah, like the Serenity Pod is something you have to go and unlock. It might take you a little while to get to it though, but it's kind of fun if you have the patience for it. I'll be loading mine up here after I'm done with all these ley lines.
Stabilize.
At the frying pan. Life goes on.
Like I said, I don't really have to aim, which is kind of unfair.
We're way behind schedule.
This is order.
Eat this! Go. Next on the agenda.
And yes, you can like normal attack like this with a weapon. I just don't because she's just way better as an aimer. I don't have an animo character on me, so I'm not gonna grab that seed. Alright. Alright, I think I have one condensed resin left, and so it moved all the way down here. I'm not gonna pursue it. I'm just gonna go to this other one. Teleport waypoint. I mean you can, but so there are a few different wish banners. So I'll pull up the wish banner real quick. You'll have a few banners that will pop up when you first start playing. So there's a beginner banner, which guarantees you a Noel off your first 10 pull, which only cost 8 of those little wishes, which these ones are a little trickier to use. Uh, so we call these, I don't remember what, Acquainted Fates and Intertwined Fates. So you see in the top right corner where I have 24 of them, uh, of the Acquainted Fates. These can only be used on this banner and the banner all the way off to the right. Period. The Intertwined Fates are used for the character banners, which rotate out, and the weapon banner, which also rotates out. So, but the way that this banner works is any 5-star characters or weapons are not added to the standard Wish banner in any way or form. However, any 4-star characters, like let's say if this had a new 4-star character, they would be added to this banner as soon as the banner with them on it has left. So, which makes it more interesting. So there are only like five 5-star characters you can get off this banner, and I'm expecting just as much off of this one. You can get 5-star weapons also off this banner and this banner, uh, but they will never be the same like uh, weapons that you can get off the weapon banner. I mean, I use a controller. I hear aiming with a bow is a lot easier with the mouse and keyboard. I say use whatever you're most comfortable with. Um, I do enjoy using it this way because it makes it uh, easier. Because I was originally a console player, and it it has its ups and downs. For anybody who is proficient with mouse and keyboard, they will always claim that mouse and keyboard is the way to go in any game, regardless of design. But since I also can play this on like PS4, I don't want to like have an issue with button controls. Mind you, it is the typical like if you're familiar with like Nintendo consoles, the setup is very similar to those as opposed to like PlayStation. So, uh, if you play on PlayStation, uh, your X button is your attack. However, your when you play on like PC, uh, if you try to hit that same button location with a controller, it will cause your character to jump instead, and vice versa. So it can be, yeah. She's an interesting character. She has a weird mechanic. First of all, she's a healer for the most part. But she also has a minus 100% crit rate, which you can get back up over zero if you invest enough time into artifacts. Which artifacts? Because artifacts can have different stats. Like I have like a 12% crit rate on this artifact, and like this one has like a 7%. And not every artifact will have crit rate or crit damage, and so you kind of have to like make do with what you got. And some characters get more or less. Sometimes weapons give them crit rate, like this weapon does, but sometimes they just give you other stats. Uh, Energy recharge just makes it so that your burst comes up faster, so you can use it more often. Uh, it's one of the things that people go for in the game, but a lot of builds just say, well, you need attack, crit rate, crit damage, and whatever element that you're using.
Completely off work this early?
So,
There is still a lot left to do.
You're open.
All hail!
I wasn't done. You're open. Picked the wrong test subject.
okay, time to run away a little bit.
Wheel of life.
Should replace my hammer.
So, okay. One big thing about this game that I always bring up about weapon and character upgrades is that you need to have certain things to upgrade your character beyond certain thresholds. And the quickest way to level up is to uh, use experience books. So the ones I was using. So I'll use an example here. Let me go to a character that's not max level. Okay, let me use a character that is not a 5-star just to use as an example. Okay, so I have Kaya here. He's a default character you get in the game. No big deal. So he is level 70, and they have different things that you need to have to break certain thresholds. So this is level 20. So once you become level 20, you cannot go beyond level 20 until you pay these things. And the Mora, which is 20,000 Mora and the stuff. And so forth. So in this case, this is something that can be collected from like a boss or sometimes in chests. This is a regional specific item, and these drop from like treasure hoarders, which I just beat up some treasure hoarders. So this is a world boss drop, which they respawn in like 3 minutes, so it's not that big of a deal, but they cost resin to get. And you kind of see what happens is you have to have so many of them, and eventually they drop 2, 3 of them at a time. Not always, but pretty consistently. But you start getting into the higher ones, and they start requiring all sorts of stuff. There is an upgrade system for these chunks and gems and so forth on the left side. So it takes like 3 of these to make one of these. It takes 3 of these to make one of these, and then it takes 3 of these to make one of these. So but they also can drop from bosses. So it's a yeah. I think most people actually prefer control characters or damage dealing characters. So Raiden is very popular, mainly because of the way that she functions. Uh, though it all comes down to a playstyle. Do you want to be up in your enemies' faces? Do you want to be, uh, far away? Are you a mid ranger? How do you want to deal your damage? Because honestly, like that makes all the difference, and I can do either. I usually like being up in enemies' faces, but you need to be able to take a hit or two from enemies if that's gonna be the case. So it's a pretty wild ride, regardless. Um, and if you want a lot of like the most challenging content in the game, uh, later on, which still gives rewards, is the Spiral Abyss, which I have not done lately, and I'll explain how this works. The Spiral Abyss is in a hidden area, more or less. Hey, look, not bad. All right, continue. I'll read this later. All right, so every time you go through these, uh, you will you'll have challenges on each floor of monsters, and they start off at level 25. So don't come here before then. And the rewards for each floor is 100 primo gems for 3 stars, 6 stars, and then 9 stars. So you could end up with 300 primo gems for each floor you do, and floors 9 through 12, which are the hardest floors, they reset every, I think, like on the first of every month and on the 15th of every month. So, and again, they give the same rewards. They give 50 per each one instead of the 100 for each one, but they still make it worth it. That means you can get 150 uh, per floor for a whole whopping, what is that, 600 primo gems. So it's like 3 wishes. Which isn't a whole lot, but a lot of people just they figure ways to get wishes like crazy, and you'll learn very quickly that you'll have to make sacrifices on what you want to wish for and what you don't want to wish for. So it is very complex, but there are banners that I just don't wish on. Or sometimes I'll be like, oh, there's a battle pass, and I want to get the battle pass experience, so then I will make wishes. Which there is the way the battle pass works. I'll pull up the battle pass. Is that you gain experience and you get rewards. Okay, so level 1 going all the way up, you'll get a fragile resin, which you can break for regular resin. It gives you 60. And then every 10 that you go through, you'll get an equated feint, which is the blue one for the standard banner, the permanent one. Uh, and you'll for every 10 after the 5th level, you'll also get fragile. Yeah, yeah, I do like that. But sometimes you don't know where it is. Uh, but the battle pass stuff, they give you all sorts of stuff. Like you get stuff for doing your login. Another one for doing 4 daily commissions. Another one for mining 10 items. Another one for using 150 original resin, which is the thing in the top right corner. Then there are weeklies doing 15 domain challenges, doing 3 requests, 3 bounties. These are uh, behind your uh, reputation system for each town. Trounce Domains or Dominator of Wolves challenge 3 times. Those are weeklies. Boss opponents, those are world bosses. Uh, good luck getting that one. Using 500,000 Mora, I wouldn't even bother with that at the beginning. Uh, you're probably going to be able to do a lot of these other ones like cook 20 dishes, forge 20 items. Those are easy. Um, so yeah, and then they'll have this period. So these are generally like event stuff or making like 50 wishes. So the battle pass there's the free version which I always use, and then there's also the paid version where if you pay just a little bit more, which is I'll try this out real quick. They have the 9.99, so for mine like $10, I can get that. Or if I want to get an extra 10 levels and some extra stuff, I can pay $20. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't do that, regardless. But I know people that do, so it's not uncommon. Oh, that's beautiful. Um, yeah, you can just walk through this little thing, but it's a pretty fun game. I wonder if my feed froze. Uh-oh. Yeah, there's a lot of choices that you can make on actually playing, and I say give it a shot. And I know I've met people who have started playing it and have stopped. I know people who've spent hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, and have stopped playing this game. It is not that rare, but I'm one of those people who's like, well, I'd rather just play it because I enjoy it. Uh, this is me mining.
Next on the
Uh,
agenda.
any character with a claymore, which you do not get a free claymore user in the game, unfortunately, can break rocks fairly quickly. I can actually do this. Yep. Yes, there is a fishing minigame. So you have to have a fishing pole. I don't know if you can see it on my map. I marked them as a fishing spot. So I can just go over here and fish. But you have to make it all the way to Inazuma,
You lie on the grass, yet
which
you
is
feel the
the
heartbeat of the
third.
world.
Uh, yeah, I know. Is the third continent more or less third country. Also, always collect these things, these flying butterfly things, whenever possible. I'm gonna grab a few things before I get over to the fishing spot. Ah, I missed. Okay, that's fine. So regional specialties, just pick them up. I have a special item equipped so that whenever I pick up items, like plants, um, I will collect seeds. The seeds are used only in the Serenity pot, so don't worry about like not getting them.
Next on the agenda,
Let's see.
we're way behind schedule.
Way. Walk, 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 walk. There's also a stamina meter here. If you run out of stamina, it really sucks.
Next on the agenda,
Anyway, I'm just gonna keep grabbing these. Dumb bird. Birds are one-shot kills. Same thing with like squirrels and I'm trying to think what they're called. I
behind
don't remember what they're
schedule.
called, but they're not squirrels. They're other like furry, small furry creatures. I can't think what they're called. It's not that big a deal. Anyway, speaking about fishing, so there's a fishing spot. I can just simply glide over here, and you'll see that there's fish in it. And what you do is you just plop over here, switch to whoever the character is. So I have several rods. So this region, I need to use the Entangler, I think it is. Yeah. So so they just they all function basically the same. And then you start fishing and you plop it in. I'll just plop it over that way. Be like, oh yeah, I need to get kind of close. The fish will be drawn to it, or they'll ignore it, whichever. And then you hit the button, and then you have to like play the little fishing mini game.
You've got it! You got it! Whoa! Nice catch!
And then you can just cast your line again, or not, depending on how you're feeling. You can bring it back in, switch your bait. Let's say I want to try to catch this other thing, and I'm not sure what bait it uses. I'll try throwing this in and see if it goes for it. Okay, that works. Yes, there are inventory limits, but they're very, very generous.
Victory is almost ours!
And I will show you what my inventory kind of looks like real quick.
Whew! That was a tough fight!
Okay, so I'll stop fishing. Go to inventory. Okay, so inventory. There's a weird capacity which is like 2,000. Okay, but each item does not count as uh, an inventory capacity. So it doesn't matter if I have one of these or 35 of this item, it counts as one for the total. So just because I'll use an example here. I have 643 in the top right corner. If I use this like that, I still have 643. It spots like locations on here that it takes up, and that's it. Uh, it counts it for, well, it doesn't count it for those. It counts it for your precious items, your quest items, your gadget list, your materials, your food, and your character development items. For artifacts, you're allowed up to 1,500. It used to be 1,000, which you can kind of see how I would always go over. And then weapons has a limit of 2,000, which I only have 169. The furnishings, which are for the Serenity Teapot, is 513. The only time I've ever had to clean anything out is for artifacts. Just plain and simple. It's the only thing I ever get capped out on because they're so easy to get and I run domains. Because when you run domains, you get artifacts and they might have random, like, they have random stats on them. So I'll use an example here. So these are sands for the Shimenawa's Reminisce set, which is found in Azuma. So its main stat, as well as all of its substats, so the main stat is up above, and the substats are below where it says +0. Uh, so this says an HP percentage with a few stats underneath. This one's attack percentage. This one's HP percentage, attack percentage, elemental mastery, attack percentage, defense percentage, elemental mastery, and so on. And you can have a lot of variety in some of these. Like the goblets can have like different like elemental bonuses, which they're the only piece that can. You'll have circlets that will have all sorts of things like healing bonuses and crit rate and crit damage. So there's definitely a lot of choice and randomization there. You could also end up with flat stats or percentile stats on the substats. Um, the flowers and the plumes will always be HP and attack, respectively. So that makes them different. But each time you run it, you have another chance of getting stuff. I don't recommend running artifact domains until you are adventure rank 45. I would just do whatever you can to just kind of get by until then. And the reason being is at adventure rank 45, the domains start dropping a guaranteed 2 5-star artifacts each time you run it, which means it's a lot more beneficial for your resin. So until then, I would work on, you know, character upgrades, like materials, your experience books, your weapon upgrade materials, ascension materials for your character. You know, so just focusing on working on the character rather uh, than the actual artifacts. I know it sounds a little weird, but yeah. Yeah, I get that point. And like I said, if you ever get full on artifacts, there is a great system in play. So there's this button that, as you can see in the bottom right corner, called Destroy. And I know the first thing that comes to mind is like, why would you destroy anything? Well, you can't destroy any 5 stars, which is kind of annoying. But let's say I have this 3 star, and I'm just like, man, I'm over. Well, I can select the the 3 star, and I can hit destroy, and it'll give me Mora in return. But it will destroy it. I'm not going to destroy it, and you can destroy up to 100 at a time. Uh, so I'm going to take that back off, and I'm going to select one of these, which is a 4 star, which they give you more money based off of what they are. So, which is really nice. Yeah, it's always nice to be able to make stuff. There's mini games for a ton of things, including cooking. So that's what makes it way more useful. Uh, oh, yeah, I almost forgot. And eventually you'll also get this item, which means you can place it down once a week and throw into up to 150 of any type of material or uh, I believe that's what it is. Material or uh, character development items into it, and it will give you other rewards out of it. Typically, rewards that cost resin in the process. So a lot of times I catch myself throwing in something like Julian chili, which I have 500 of right now, or silk flowers, which I have over 500. Uh, it it's easy to do, and it's easy to keep track of. Some items you just end up with a crap ton of. Um, and sometimes like I've condensed a lot of things in the last month or so, so that I don't have as many of like these things. I used to have like 2,000 of these. And I just upgraded them all the way up to like the ominous mask because I was like, I don't need these for anything. So, which everything is pretty much upgradable with the exception of the weekly boss drops. They are not upgradable, but they are exchangeable, which makes things nice. And the world boss thing, like drops that you need, they're not upgradable and not exchangeable. So you're kind of stuck with whatever you got from them. Um, a lot to take in. I know. You cannot downgrade anything. So if you end up with a better version, let's say end up with like one of these, and I'm like, well, that's worth like 3 of these, which means it's worth 9 of these. I can't actually downgrade to the 9 of these. Or, sorry, it'd be 9 of these ones. Uh, which is kind of. Sorry, I went the wrong way. Sorry. It's so 3, 9. Okay. It goes lowest is green, then blue, then purple. Uh, Likewise with weapon upgrade materials, you can't do the same thing with that. So kind of annoying, but worth it. You can use food to boost your stats temporarily. Uh, the food that I upgrade or make the most is obviously going to be my beloved taiyaki. If I can find it on my list. Man, there's a lot of food on here. Makes me kind of hungry. um, yeah, taiyaki. I have 490 of them, so just takes a long time. So anyway, I'm out of resin and I'm out of other things to do at the moment. I have other things that I need to take care of today. I know. Uh, Tomorrow will be a busy day too. Uh, Dealing with everything, and you can log in, log out fairly easily and collect stuff. Uh, Nothing will pop up until the reset. And reset for me in North America is like 4 a.m. So that's when your like commissions like will pop up and any like changes generally to the game. However, banners usually update in the afternoon for me, uh, almost the evening. So and it varies, but I don't really have anything that updates between like I think it's like 6 p.m. and like
It's
4
so
a.m.
nice to
Like
de-stress.
nothing really happens during that time, simply because the game isn't scheduled to do stuff like that. So if you're in Europe, it's probably closer to like mid afternoon or early afternoon, to like I'm gonna say closer to almost midnight where nothing happens. So it's a nice change, but for a game that's located and has uh, originated from China, I expect no less. So again, thanks for watching. I'm gonna end it here unless you have any other questions. Um, it does take a long time to actually get everything, and there's a ton of freaking events to get money. There's test runs to try out the characters, so I know exactly how each character runs that's appeared. Uh, the events that give rewards. This one gives you primo gems, 70 for each one that they did, which is like few. They give you primo gems for making one. Get drinks and they reward you with more primo gems. They're everywhere. I
Look,
wouldn't sweat it.
you can feel the heartbeat of
You'd
the
be able to
land.
make it. So I think that's gonna do it for me for today. And if you have any other questions, go ahead and uh, you know comment on my videos otherwise, or join my Discord and shoot me a question there, and I can answer it in the most timely manner. Thank you for watching.